Hello everyone, this is Amanpreet Kaur from Guru Nanak Dev University and a legal intern at Texas and Company. So today we're going to talk about doctrine of pith and substance. So the Constitution of India has divided the extent of legislative powers between the centre and the states by way of the 7th schedule. And as we know that the 7th schedule specifies the subject matters and divides the power to make laws between the centre and the state. So list 1, or the we can say that the union list contains matters where the center has the power to make laws, for example in the case of defense or in the case of foreign affairs and currency. So list 2, or we can say state list, contains the subjects where the state has the power to make laws in order to like public order, health and sanitation. And list 3, or the concurrent list, contains subjects where both the center and the state have the power to legislate on the matters regarding education, forests and administration of justice. Although their spheres of influence are well established in the 7th schedule, there often arise conflicts as to whether the center or the state, as the case may be, is encroaching upon the sphere of the other. So to deal with the conflict, the courts in India have evolved a few doctrines, and the age-old doctrine of pith and substance. In this, pith is regarded as the essence of something and substance is regarded as essential part of something. So this doctrine is the first tool that courts use to determine which level of government has authority over a certain matter or issue. So at its most basic, a pith and substance analysis asks what the essential character of the law is, and to determine the purpose of the law, courts use both intrinsic and extrinsic evidence. So other than that, doctrine of pith and substance is originated from Canada. It is widely believed that the origin of doctrine of pith and substance lies in Canada, and it was introduced in a case naming Cushing versus Dupuy in the year 1880. So the doctrine later made its way to India and is firmly supported by Article 246 of the Constitution and the 7th schedule also. So in India it has evolved to become a celebrated doctrine that become the basic of many landmark Supreme Court judgments. Other than that, the Privy Council applies this doctrine in Prafulla Kumar Mukherjee versus Bank of Khulna, and in this case the Bengal Money Lenders Act of 1946 enacted by the state legislature was challenged with the contention that the parts of the legislation dealt with promissory notes, a central subject. So the Privy Council, while upholding the validity of the impugnant legislation, stated that the Bengal Money Lenders Act was in pith and substance a law relating to money lenders, and money lending is a state subject, even though it incidentally trenches upon promissory note, which is regarded as a central subject. So other than that, there was a case, that is State of Bombay versus F.N. Balsara. In this case, the Bombay Prohibition Act was challenged on the ground that it accidentally encroaches upon import and export of liquor across custom frontier, which is regarded as a central subject. So the court, while upholding the repugnant legislation, declared that the act was in pith and substance a state subject, even though it incidentally encroached upon a central subject. So the doctrine places emphasis on the fact that it is the real subject matter which is to be challenged and not its incidental effects on another field. So pith denotes the essence of something or the true nature, while substance states the most significant or essential part of something. Other than that, a pith and substance analyzes, or we can say scrutinizes, the law to discover the purpose of the law. The legal effect of the law, that is impacts that are expected to happen if the statute works as planned. The practical effect of the law, that is impacts the statute across, actually causes as it operates, anticipated or unanticipated. So that was all about today's topic, that is the doctrine of pith and substance. It was just an overview of it. So I hope you like this video. If you like this video, put a thumbs up on this video, and also don't forget to like and subscribe the channel X-Click. And this does not solicit any promotion or advertisement as per the guidelines of the Bar Council of India, and it is for education purpose only. Thank you.